Hi everybody, and welcome to our week number 5 Twitch live stream for my intro psych classes. I cannot believe that we are more than halfway through our short 8-week class that we have together. Hope everyone is doing well and hanging in there. I see a lot of you joining me. We're back to our normal day and time this week, which is nice. Could someone let me know, can you hear me and see me okay? If someone could let me know in the chat, that would be fantastic. If everything's coming through. Okay, great. Thank you, Tanner. Thank you for letting me know. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. So week number 5, again, halfway through the semester. I want to give you a little bit of feedback from the last 2 weeks since we did finish a 2-week segment, and then we'll talk about what we have going on for this week. So let's head over to Canvas together. Let me turn this up here. Looks like it's a little on the dim side. There we go. So we are right here. So as of Monday, as of a couple days ago, weeks 5 and 6 are now open for you. So let's talk a little bit about week 3 and 4 just really quickly before we move forward. So for the last 2 weeks, again, for the most part, really, really nicely done. A lot of really solid exam scores on exam number 2. Great job filling out like some of the assessment pieces and kind of giving me some feedback. Let's take a look at discussions 5, 6, 7, and 8 really quickly. Discussion number 5. So for this one, you were talking about your dreams, and I really enjoyed your interpretations of your dreams and where they come from. Some of you talked about some reoccurring dreams, which was really interesting. Biggest reason people lost points for this one was not giving me enough to show me that you did understand the dream theories. I was looking for you to explain the theory and connect it to your dream, and a few people definitely kind of didn't do that, or missed this last question down there of why you think we personally dream, or didn't reply to a classmate. If we look at the next theory, or the next, discussion number 6, this one was related to learning, and I hope you enjoyed watching the little clip from The Office. A lot of you had clearly seen it before, but you were thinking about how Jim was able to condition Dwight to that little computer ding for the Altoid sticking out his hand, identifying the US, UR, CS, and CR, which most of you did really, really well. The biggest reason people lost points was on this last one here, either giving me an example of something that was more operant conditioning. If you use the term like positive or negative or reinforcement or punishment, it's probably more like operant conditioning, or not giving me enough information about like how that conditioning took place, or again, not replying to a classmate. For the most part, though, really nicely done. That is probably one of the hardest topics that we cover in this class, and a lot of you did a beautiful job on that. Discussion number 7 was all about, let me bring this up here, about memory. And I hope you enjoyed trying to figure out how you would hold on to a 28-digit sequence of letters and numbers, which thankfully you don't actually have to remember. But if you did, a lot of you did a beautiful job talking about, what are some ways that you would hold on to it? Either repeating it to yourself or maybe chunking it in some way. I was watching an episode of Beef last night, and they were trying to memorize each other's license plates and just repeating them out loud to themselves, right? Rote rehearsal is a very common way of doing that. And then if you needed to hold on to it for longer, how could you maybe make it into a story or a song or give it meaning in some way? So I really enjoyed your stories and strategies for that. Biggest reason people lost points was not giving me different methods for different periods of time, or just not quite elaborating enough in your responses. Finally, discussion number 8 was related to cognition, and this one was about identifying elements of intelligence. How would you define that? What are some things you can do to increase your intelligence? And then the biggest point part of this was this last question, where I was looking for you to talk about standardization, reliability, and validity, and what those 3 things are, how they play a role in good tests, defining them and describing them. And the people who lost points here typically just didn't quite give me enough when talking about those 3 things, or you listed them but didn't define and describe them in some way. For the most part, though, I feel like a lot of you are kind of settling in and have a good idea of what I'm looking for in the discussions. A lot of like 13, 14, 15 points on all of those. Again, really nicely done for the most part as well on exam number 2. Continue to use all these things as a learning opportunity. So at this point, as we enter into weeks 5 and 6, as of this week, we are halfway through. So you definitely still have a lot of points left in the semester and in the class. So if you are happy with what you're doing, keep it up. If you wish you were doing a little bit better, you still have an opportunity to kind of change things around and make some adjustments in hopes of doing better in the second half. So as we enter into week 5, this week we are looking at chapter 9 on motivation and chapter 10 on emotion. And then next week we look at chapter 11 on human development and chapter 12 on personality. And emotion, motivation, human development, personality, these are very core topics within the field of psychology. And so this is a, kind of a nice like bulk week in terms of those very core concepts that we're covering. So make sure as usual that you read chapter 9 and 10 in the textbook. Make sure you also read through the lecture and watch the lecture video. As always, remember you have 3 components for every chapter: the chapter in the ebook, the lecture, and the lecture video. So make sure you do that for chapters 9 and 10. You also have discussions number 9 and 10 that we're covering this week. We'll look at those in a second, along with a little self-assessment. So you have a couple of these throughout the class. Again, since we're halfway through, I want you to kind of evaluate where you're at. Think about your grades so far in the class. Is there anything you want to change or adjust as you move forward? And that's your chance to do that. And it is worth 5 points. So make sure that you spend a couple of minutes kind of assessing where you are at in the class so far. Let's take a look at discussions 9 and 10 together. Discussion number 9, as always, you have my instructions up here at the top, along with a little video. This one is all about the motive of hunger. And so kind of a lighter, haha, pun intended, right? A lighter discussion topic this week of looking at the topic of fad diets. So with this one, what you're going to do is you're going to think about a fad diet that you've either heard of, or maybe you've tried, or somebody you know has tried, and you're going to do a little bit of research on it. You're going to report all of the main components of your fad diet, including how does it work, what are you required to do or not do, or eat or not eat, what is the timeline for results, what are the main advantages and disadvantages of your diet, or maybe the rewards and dangers might be another way of thinking about that. And then what role do you think that the media, like movies, TV, music, magazines, and so on, play in contributing to the negative self-views that often accompany a desire to lose weight and or eating disorders such as anorexia and bulimia. And while of course I want to know a lot about your fad diet and the advantages and disadvantages, don't skip out on this last one. Really kind of comment on the role of the media and how you think that might play an influence. And of course, don't forget to reply to a classmate as well. The other discussion that we have for this week, discussion discussion number 10, is related to emotions. And as always, again, you have my instructions followed by my video. But with this one, we're looking at those 3 theories of emotion that we're covering in the chapter and also in the lecture. And so what I want you to do for this one is you're going to explain an emotional reaction from each of the 3 theories of emotion that we covered in the lecture and book. So the James Lange theory, the Cannon-Bard theory, and the Schachter-Singer theory. So I want you to think of an emotional reaction or even create one. It can be made up or real, but something that happened. And then you're going to describe the chain of events that led to your emotion from each of the 3 theories in order to receive credit. So all 3 of them, make sure you don't skip any of them, do all 3. So let's say that you were at a soccer game and your team was winning and you were super happy and excited, right? You would talk about how you got to the emotion of happiness from each of the 3 different theories of emotion that were covered in the book and in the lecture. Okay, and then second question, what are some ways to spot a lie? You can reference the lecture or your own personal experiences, but definitely be specific. And then just for fun, if you would like to, I made a little video, and it's a couple years old, 2 truths and a lie. If you'd like to watch it and guess which one is the lie, I will definitely let you know when I send out the feedback for these 2 weeks. I am an awful liar. I smile and I laugh when I lie, and I tried very hard not to do those things, so you can feel free to watch that for fun if you would like to. Other than that, again, of course, make sure that you do that little self-assessment that I talked about. I will post a recording of this a little bit later. It'll be uploaded and downloaded, and I'll give you the extra credit question here in a moment. But are there any questions or thoughts or comments, anything at all from any of you who are joining me live at the moment? Otherwise, we're kind of short and sweet, because we kind of settle into the rhythm of this less and less to go over every week. But I do have a couple of quick reminders for you if you are on here with me. The first one is to please make sure, as always, that you are still subscribed. As we are in week 5, an incredible number of you have fallen off. So please take a moment to double check that you're still subscribed. You can still do this for the first time if you haven't ever. Remember, all those instructions are on Canvas. And I did take a little bit last time to show you how to do that. Oh, I'm glad everything feels clear to you. Thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate that. The other reminder that I have for you, if you're looking at your schedule, is that I'm going to put this in the chat here. Our next Twitch live stream will be on Wednesday, September 20th at 11:30 a.m. Okay, so that will be our next Twitch live stream, sticking with that consistent theme of doing that every week on Wednesday for the most part. So we'll have that Wednesday at 11:30 in the morning, and that will be for week number 6. So we'll go over the materials required for week 6. I'll also give you the extra credit question. Of course, we'll talk about exam number 3 and so on. Let me give you the extra credit question for this week and show you where to answer that really quickly. So this is the week number 5 Twitch extra credit question. Okay, what is the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation? Explain and give an example of each. What is the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation? Explain and give an example of each. And when you are ready to answer that, you'll head over to Canvas. And since we're in week 5, you'll click on optional Twitch extra credit number 5 right here. And then once you have that, you click on start assignment up at the top, which brings up the little text box where you can type your response right here and hit submit when you are done. And that'll give you the confetti burst and 2 points. And are those gnomes? Oh, interesting. So this is due by next Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. And remember, if you're joining me live and you put your name in the chat or you are subscribed, you can go ahead and do that. If you're watching this later, make sure that you are subscribed in order to be able to answer that for extra credit. But feel free to do that. Oh, sorry, I just got a message from my school here. Okay. Anyway, so make sure that you are doing that if you would like to earn those 2 points every week. Otherwise, what I will do is I'll hang out for a little bit if you do have any questions for me. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful week, that you're taking care of yourself, and I will hope to see you all next Wednesday for our next live stream. So I'm going to minimize my video, but I will hang out for a little while if you do have any other questions for me. And otherwise, I hope you all have a great week. Thank you. Thank you so much for being on here with me. I really appreciate all of you being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will hope to see you Wednesday next week. Have a wonderful week, everyone, and thank you again so much. Okay. Thank you for letting me know. So you can put your name here in the chat. That's totally fine. And then if you want to go back and watch the rest of the recording later, that's fine as well. You too. Have a wonderful day.